So moving on to something which is a little less plainly silly. And that is actually a first for the watching brief so far, and that is we're going to have an interview package that you've filmed with regards to the Goodwin Sands project. So we'd like to just sort of give us a bit of context before we dive into that interview.
Thank you, Mark. Yeah, the Goodwin Sands controversy has come about because of an application by the Port of Dover to dredge on the Goodwin Sands off the coast of Kent, which is a very sensitive environmental and archaeological area. A few weeks ago, I went down to visit the community-based campaign that's trying to get the dredging controlled and hopefully moved to save the archaeology on the Goodwin Sands. And here's the package.
Well, this is the first for the watching brief on Archaeology. I'm here with Joanna and Fiona from Goodwin Sands SOS, which is a local campaign in East Kent, trying to, if not stop, change the plans of the Port of Dover to dredge the Goodwin Sands. 3 miles away from where we're sitting in this beachfront house in Walmer is a massive sandbank that is thousands of years old and is probably one of the richest archaeological sites in the country. But at the moment, well, tell me, Joanna, what is the Port of Dover actually planning?
Port of Dover want to dredge 3.75 million tonnes of sand from the Goodwins to use as landfill for 2 tidal docks in the current port, which they want to fill in completely and then use as a lorry park. So the idea of using our national underwater cultural heritage to fill in for a lorry park is just a complete no-no to all of us. They then want to use some of it for construction for their new harbour facility, but it's mainly landfill.
So Fiona, how has it come to this? Why is this plan actually being even considered if the site's so sensitive?
It's being considered because back in the 70s Dover was able to dredge there, because people were much more aware now of their cultural heritage and the significance of the Goodwins than perhaps back in the 1970s. The campaign started because we don't want to stop them rebuilding the port. We want them to have that facility there. It's much needed. Jobs are needed, and the investment in the local economy is needed. But we want them to source the aggregate from elsewhere. It is not necessary to source it from the Goodwins, which is a massive archaeological and historic heritage to this part of the country, and also to the country and Europe as a whole.
And talking of Europe, one of the most sensitive issues that you've discovered in the course of your campaign is the issue of aircraft that crashed on the Goodwins during World War I and particularly World War II. Can you tell us a little bit about that, Joanna?
Yes, the Kent Battle of Britain Museum have collated a list of 60 planes and about 80 aircrew from Britain, Germany and Poland who crashed out in the Goodwins, somewhere in the Goodwins, nobody knows where, between May and November 1940 alone. So it's a very short window in the period of the war to have so many planes that died there.
And I think it's worth showing our viewers that one of those aircrew, this is Pilot Officer Gilman, who was a member of the RAF and was shot down during the Battle of Britain. In fact, his picture, this portrait, has become a sort of iconic image of the Battle of Britain, of a Battle of Britain pilot. It's been used as a cover of a book. It's been used in postage stamps. And in fact, Pilot Officer Gilman was already dead by the time this edition of Picture Post was published in the autumn of 1940. And you've in fact talked to his relatives, haven't you?
Yes, his relatives still live in Dover. And we've spoken to them and they're absolutely appalled by the idea of the dredging out there. They just think the final resting places should be left undisturbed.
And Fiona, I think I'm right in saying also that under the Protection of Military Remains Act in Britain, a crashed military aircraft of any nationality is a protected site, and you're not allowed to interfere with it without written permission from the Ministry of Defence. So why is this even being considered?
Because Dover Harbour Board hasn't done its due diligence properly, its contractors haven't done their due diligence in actually researching what is out there. The key part they keep saying is that they will avoid known sites. Well, the whole point is that no one knows where these aircraft went down. And before World War II and before the Battle of Britain, there's archaeology from a further distant past. There's thousands of shipwrecks on the Goodwins, some of massive archaeological importance. There's also Bronze Age archaeology there. But of course, for people today, many of their older relatives were children during the Battle of Britain. They remember watching the aircraft go down. They knew about these young men dying out there. And it is vital that Dover Harbour would acknowledge this and take on board a responsibility for protecting this area for future generations, for archaeologists and for the history of this country.
We feel very strongly that government agencies should have knocked this application on the head at the outset. They're all being far too polite to each other. I think Dover Harbour Board think they could get away with it because they did it 40 years ago. And this is why we're challenging it, because there seems to have been such a sort of shoe-in almost with all the surveys and the impact assessments. They're just not rigorous enough and they don't stand up to scrutiny.
And I think it's worth saying, it's not just you saying this. Am I right in thinking you've had a report recently that suggests that a similar situation in the Thames Estuary suggested that the protocols that are in place at the moment actually aren't fit for purpose?
Yes, we've had a report, a white paper done for us. When the London Gateway development was done for the huge new site there, they inadvertently, despite using the state-of-the-art survey technology, managed to discover by dredger a Junkers. Thankfully, there were no aircrew present. They had bailed out during the war, but the aeroplane was absolutely smashed to pieces. It came up in bits and pieces in the dredge head. And of course, then they have to spend a huge amount of time trying to find out where it had gone down. Because of course, as we all know, when it's in the dredger, by the time it's in the dredger, it's the time lapse between that and where it was found. It is not acceptable in the modern day to actually go roughshod through our heritage like this.
So just to wind up, what's the current state of the campaign, and what do you anticipate happening next?
The current state is that Historic England have at last requested that a magnetometer survey is done. They should have asked right at the beginning, but they let Dover Harbour Board assure them that they wouldn't be disturbing any potential heritage, so they let them not get away with one. It would have saved a lot of aggro, I think, in the long term if they had done it 2 years ago. We wouldn't be in this position now. So they're doing the magnetometer survey. They've got to wait for calm weather. Then the results will be the subject of a third public consultation period, which is all delaying Dover Harbour Board's plans. We don't want to delay their plans. We just want them to say, look, it's not appropriate to get sand from the Goodwins. Go to a proper commercial site and get it from there.
I mean, it's doubtful that any magnetometer is going to find aluminium aircraft. It's certainly not going to find Bronze Age wrecks. It's not going to find an Elizabethan galleon. It is the technology that is out there is not suitable. It's not going to pick up these wrecks.
So basically, you're asking for a preventative, an in situ preservation policy rather than discovering things in a dredge head.
Absolutely.
Yes, and a lot of the information that was the focus of the second public consultation period was all about mitigation processes and what they do when they hit something. But that's too late. We want to preserve it in situ and leave it as it is, not worry about it when it's been brought up by dredger in lots of little pieces.
And it's not just this unprecedented third public consultation, which will be happening later on this year. It's also the largest petition the MMO has ever received. We've got over 13,000, we're close to 14,000 signatures now, and we're very much hoping that we get to 15,000 after the summer. So hopefully some of your viewers will be those extra signatures which we would so value.
And we'll be posting information about the campaign on our website. So I'd just like to thank Joanna and Fiona for being with us this afternoon, or for allowing me to come into the house, Joanna's house this afternoon, in fact. And I think, in conclusion, we just need to say, watch this space.
Watch this space, yes.
Now, obviously, we have to point out that the Port of Dover hasn't done anything illegal, and that the licence application is still going through its process with the Marine Management Organisation. And as we said in the piece, watch this space. But I think everyone's agreed that it will, whatever happens, it's going to have a significant impact on the planning and licensing of marine activities when there is sensitive archaeology.
Okay. Well, watch this space or watch that space indeed.